Tu m'entends?
Oui.
Laurent, tu m'entends?
Ouais. Oui,
Il y
je
a quelque chose
t'entends.
qui est apparu sur l'écran, évidemment. Voilà, tu m'entends, Laurent?
Ouais, je t'entends, oui.
Je t'entends pas, Laurent.
Et les autres m'entendent
Ouais,
pas?
Marche pas.
j'entends tout le
Donc,
monde, moi.
Pierre m'entend.
Oui.
Sean, you hear me? Patrick, tu m'entends?
Oui.
Ouais, et Sean? Mais je vous entends pas, moi, c'est bizarre.
Ah.
Ouais, c'est bizarre.
Je comprends pas, j'entends rien. Charlotte?
Oui, Gilbert, vous m'entendez ou pas?
Non.
Je vous appelle.
On y va quand? On commence?
Ouais. Ça fait 1 minute que ça commence en fait.
Mais il nous entend pas.
Ouais, nous entendons Gilbert. C'est...
Alors?
C'est lancé normalement.
Gilbert, est-ce que vous nous entendez?
Non, je pense que il doit avoir un problème de son côté.
Oui, je pense, mais j'arrive pas à le joindre.
Hein? Vous n'avez pas un
I
numéro de
don't
téléphone?
know if we're online right now, but someone told me to start, so maybe it's time to go. We're a little bit late, but it's time to go. I hope that everyone is online, so I can start. Hello, you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes,
On
we
your
hear
side?
you.
Okay, so welcome to this sequence devoted to higher ed, how higher ed education was impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. We're talking about tomorrow and the new way of thinking in education, and especially among the community, governance, students, teachers, and of course, company. And to talk about all this, we are with me to discuss today. I hope that they hear me. We are supposed to have slides on the screen, so I don't see. Okay, great. I say no because someone told no, I don't hear you. So here, my guest, Laurent Champaneys, General Manager Arts et Métiers and Vice President of the Conférence of Grandes Écoles, Conférence des Grandes Écoles. Je faisais un mix. A kind of professional union for les Grandes Écoles, which is a typical French specialty to have university and Grandes Écoles. Arts et Métiers is a Grande École, as I said, which is a typically French naming. We are talking about French excellence. Patrick Doffemont, Head of Transmission Institute, Compagnons du Devoir et du Tour de France. We are talking about the French savoir-faire. Thanks to the Compagnons du Devoir, our best craftsmen are trained. Pierre LEVY, Assistant Professor at the Department of Industrial Design and Eindhoven, University of Technology, and co-founder of European Kansei Group. And Lady Sean Prime, I see you have a beautiful, a very cute dog with you. So I'm quite sure it's good. Deputy Director of the Institute for Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship, Goldsmiths, University of London, and Academic Leeds Enterprise. Is that it? Okay. We speak a little bit French. Pour celles et ceux qui nous écoutent, nous allons également un peu parler français. Patrick DOFFEMONT, je vous le disais, c'est le patron des Compagnons du Devoir et il va nous parler des Compagnons du Devoir qui est vraiment, je vous le disais, une spécialité made in France, si je puis dire. Et il va commencer notre débat en nous disant qu'est-ce qui a changé dans le monde de l'éducation, quel est le nouveau paradigme auquel nous devons faire face aujourd'hui avec la crise du Covid-19 que nous connaissons. Alors, plusieurs mots-clés, hein, le digital, comment est-ce que c'est impacté, le suivi des étudiants, le mode projet, plein de choses qui sont apparues. Patrick, c'est à vous.
Merci, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Donc, je suis désolé de ne pas parler anglais. C'est mon français. Est-ce que vous pouvez éteindre mon micro, les amis? Et donc brièvement, les Compagnons, c'est un organisme, enfin c'est une organisation ouvrière. Hein, on forme aux métiers artisanaux principalement et qui est très vieille. C'est une très vieille institution en France dont le leitmotiv est de permettre à chaque ouvrier de s'accomplir dans la vie, s'accomplir et de s'épanouir. Pour ça, on s'appuie sur 4 piliers. Le premier, c'est le métier. C'est par là qu'on rentre dans la vie active.
C'est pas possible.
Si, oui, c'est possible. Et donc le métier, et c'est le premier support à travers lequel l'ouvrier va pouvoir s'accomplir. Le deuxième, c'est le voyage. Le fait de, pendant 5 à 8 ans de voyage, le jeune va renouveler les expériences dans différentes entreprises, dans différentes régions, dans différents pays, pour avoir un maximum d'expériences professionnelles vécues. Et le quatrième, c'est la communauté. Les jeunes se rassemblent dans des communautés dans les villes, dans les différentes villes de France notamment, et vont vivre en communauté. Donc ils font tourner eux-mêmes la maison, ils font tourner la communauté, donc ils sont autonomes aussi sur ces sujets-là. Et c'est les anciens, donc ceux qui ont fini le Tour de France, qui viennent apporter le soutien et l'accompagnement nécessaire. Et le dernier pilier, c'est l'initiation, c'est la partie un peu philosophique du compagnonnage, ce qu'on appelle nos valeurs, qui c'est un peu un résumé des grands philosophes de notre culture judéo-chrétienne en fait. L'objectif, c'était de livrer une synthèse des philosophies judéo-chrétiennes au monde ouvrier. Au départ, c'est ça, donc voilà, on se nourrit de ça. Donc, c'est pour la présentation du compagnonnage. L'impact du Covid sur nos manières de faire, il a eu deux vitesses en fait. Le premier confinement, il y a eu une certaine motivation à rentrer dans le dur, à faire malgré les problématiques. Donc il y a eu un vrai soutien, une solidarité dans l'effort. On a tout passé en distanciel en 15 jours, on avait réussi à tout passer en distanciel, mais on n'a fait que transformer du présentiel en distanciel. Les retours étaient plutôt positifs parce qu'on a surfé sur justement cette énergie due à l'effort de fournir ensemble. Et puis le deuxième confinement a été beaucoup plus problématique en fait, parce que là, ce qui ressortait, c'était plus des problèmes techniques, c'était plutôt des problèmes humains. Les jeunes décrochent plus facilement quand on transforme le présentiel en distanciel. Et donc, ça nous oblige à repenser le modèle numérique également. Il est très intéressant, le modèle numérique. Toute la partie FOAD qu'on peut apporter dans la formation est très intéressante. Par contre, il faut vraiment veiller à ne pas transformer du présentiel en distanciel parce que ça marche pas. Donc, il faut tout repenser dans sa globalité entre ce qui peut se passer en entreprise, ce qui doit être apporté en centre de formation et ce qui peut être nourri par le numérique entre les deux. Voilà. Je sais pas si je réponds bien à la question. J'entends plus rien. Je ne sais pas si vous m'entendez là.
Vous avez complètement bien entendu, hein, il n'y avait pas aucun souci. Je ne sais pas si Gilbert nous entend en fait.
Ah, ok, merci.
Mais c'était très, ouais, c'est déjà très intéressant, mais aussi très clair.
Je peux peut-être improviser le reste si vous voulez, et comme ça vous en débarrassez.
Gilbert, est-ce que vous nous entendez? Gilbert, can you hear us? Gilbert? Sorry, we seem to have lost Gilbert. I will call him.
Je continue.
Maybe we can, yeah, peut-être. Alors, je sais pas dans quelle langue on va le faire, mais maybe we can go on the discussion on our own. Is that okay, Charlotte?
Yes, it's good.
I don't know. I will improvise. Shall we improvise? La question sera alors, je pense, hein, Patrick, c'est comment vous faites cette transformation du présentiel en quelque chose en distanciel plus intéressant que juste la simple.
Allô?
Dans la méthode, oui.
Allô?
Ah,
Gilbert, oui, bonjour Gilbert.
Vous m'entendez?
oui.
Ah, alléluia, I'm so sorry. Laurent est là?
Tout le monde est là.
Bon, Pierre, d'accord. Et Laurent Champagné est là? Laurent? Pierre est là?
Il est en mute. Laurent est en mute. Voilà.
Je suis là, Gilbert, je t'entends.
Alléluia.
Voilà.
We used to speak French together, but now we speak English, as you know, because we have lots of friends coming from UK and all over the world listening to us. So, Laurent, first question in English, if you want. I'm so sorry for the technical problem that we had, but now it seems to be over. What has changed from your point of view in education with the new paradigm associated with the pandemic? You talk about the new mindset in higher ed, several keywords: distance, digital, individualization, monitoring, project mode, all this new issue for you, and what is your point of view?
Thank you, Gilbert. Hi, everyone. Just a few words about Métiers. Métiers is one of the oldest school of engineering in France, and we train engineers for the industry in the fields of manufacturing engineering, mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, energy engineering, with very strong scientific skills, very strong technological skills, which means that we have a lot of practical training in our programs, with a lot of hands-on applications on real industrial machines, and also strong human skills, because our engineers are the one who will transform the industry into the industry 4.0, and they need to lead the people in the industry to change the way they do. So during the pandemic, something was quite critical for us that was how to continue a practical training from anywhere and transform it to a distance learning. It was not possible for us to transform all the programs into a virtual program. Our faculties were very, very clever, and they were able to transform some parts of the practical training into distance training. But for us, the great change after this period is hybrid education. How can we mix practical training on our campuses with distance learning? We think that we cannot, as I said, and we don't want to transform all our training into distance training. Also because our engineers will go and work into companies And in those companies, they will have a mixed situation of presence in the company, in the workshops, and also a distance work. So we have to train them to be able to work with their teams from their home on distance work, but we also have to train them to work in the workshops. And for us, it's a great acceleration of the digitalization of our learning platforms. So that's the two keywords are hybrid education and digitalization.
So can you hear me, Sean? You hear me?
I hear you. Yes, I hear you.
Yes, great. Is the dog with you? Still with you?
He's wandering around. So I think this is one of the biggest changes about working from home.
He looked happy, Sean.
He was.
So, as you understand, you will answer in your specific field, arts and culture. Sean, Laurent, as we see, engineering. Patrick, craftsmanship, and Pierre, as we see in a few moments, design. So, Sean, what has changed in education with this new paradigm that we spoke a few months ago with Laurent?
Yes. So Goldsmiths only teaches arts, designs, humanities, and social sciences. So there are some crossovers, I think, to some of the issues that Laurent mentioned. One of the biggest changes, of course, is that you see my house and you see my dog. So there's a real change, I think, in terms of intimacy when we're teaching from home and teaching to students at home. And I think that's positive, but I think that with that comes some changes in terms of status and accessibility. So I think that the hybrid model is going to be here with us for a long while. But how we actually do the hands-on teaching, the craftsmanship, is complex. One of the things that our students have said to us, though, is that they want us to be more mindful in our teaching of sustainability and of the environment. There's a lot of thinking that our students are doing around how we can ensure that our curriculum prepares them to be able to contribute in a less damaging way to the environment.
We'll speak about this. We'll speak about this in a few moments.
Okay. So,
let's speak about education and pedagogy. Yeah. What has changed?
So the change for us in pedagogy is we are speaking much more on a flat level rather than expert to student. And we are also even more focused on the future and on developing our students in terms of resilience and in terms of anti-fragility.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Pierre, are you here?
Yes.
I'm wondering because
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, and I'm very happy. So you are in Eindhoven right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. How is the weather?
Sunny these days, very sunny, which is surprising, but but it's fine.
Paris, it's raining. So the same question for you. What has changed? What are the big change now today in the new world?
So for us, our education is already very project based. No? So students have already sort of a form of autonomy in the way they work. What has changed very much with the COVID is the isolation of students. I think first because they were meeting much less. So what we have been working on. This has been said already by Laurent or Patrick or Sean on digitalization and things like that, is to try to get them to work more, to keep them on working together. So to have a lot of peer-to-peer work and things like that. So it has been really much for us and for them, I think, a new way of looking for new resources for their education. And I think that's, for me, the key word is to look for new resources, new ways of learning, and new ways then therefore of the use of the course. So we now are a lot working on how they can work with each other on the project. Having, I don't know, online resources, like think about YouTube courses on YouTube or whatever you have on the internet, right? To gain some knowledge and have the time when we meet on the distance, on the screens, as we do now, to actually discuss what they have learned and discuss and get them to be more critical of what they have done or what they have learned. And it creates very much a new way of dealing as a teacher about what we actually teach them. We don't teach them knowledge, we help them to be critical to the knowledge they have learned somewhere else. That's for me the big change in the past years.
There is a word very important in your mind, is the peer-to-peer. It means that we can exchange between students, between professors, and all the community. And this relationship, this new, this acceleration of relationship are very important for you.
Yes, it's very important. First, it keeps them sane in head to be with some people and to not to be too much alone and not to be too much alone on their own thing, but really to have the chance to meet each other. Also know that some students have some means, for example, some skills or some machines that others don't have, 3D printers, for example, that we use a lot. And then they are able to go to each other's place when the university is closed, which has been for a few times during the last period. And therefore, they also meet and feel that they are together in learning these things. And I think it's both a new way of looking for resources, as I said before, but also a new way of collaboration, a new way of working together to learn what they need to learn. And I think that has been very positive for our students and for the future of our students as well.
One point very important is the position, the statute of the teachers and the professors in university, especially the professor in university. The method, the pedagogy are now changing very fast, and universities and especially professors have to change their posture. And the teacher as well, of course. So in which way they have to change the state of mind, Laurent? You hear me, Laurent?
Laurent. Yes, okay, you can hear me. Yeah, there are a lot of things to change, and that's quite a challenge for them. There are many issues. Because distant learning or hybrid learning is not the same thing than presence learning. You don't have to just show your PowerPoint to the students using Teams or Zoom. You have to build new scenarios of education, and that's quite a challenge. And second challenge for me is that professors who are used to work with students in that room from 10 to 12, they now have to interact with students at any time of the day and of the night also, because they are young, and that's quite challenging to be very good in that way of interact with young people. And as I said, for our professors, they also have to think about new pedagogical scenarios with presence and distance learning, interaction between machines, real machines and virtual machines using data. So there are a lot of things to do. We had a step further during the pandemic, but there's still a lot to do. And we don't.
You just tell us that the professor will work very much more in the future.
Yes, and in France, Métiers is a public institution, and the number of working hours of teachers is based on presence. That's the number of hours. We say face-to-face pedagogy. So we also have to change the way we count the time they use for that. I think that will be more work for them. You know that young people are very good at interacting with their phones at any day of the day, at any time of their night. And yes, anytime, and that's very challenging.
And Sean, Pierre, tell us. This is, I think, for university. In art, in design, in economics, in engineering, it's a big deal. How to move on, to change the state of mind of the professor, that have to change the way they are practicing their job now today. Sean.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because I think students had looked to us as professors to have knowledge, to have wisdom. And right now, I think it's a very disabling time for all of us. There's so much that all of us don't know. So the change in terms of status is huge. And the change in the way that we respond to questions is massive. I absolutely agree with Laurent about the change in our hours that we work and our accessibility. I think one of the things that we have really struggled to develop in this new pedagogical framework is ways for accidental meetings and accidental creativity, the casual conversations that you would have on campus. There's no way to replace that online. Everything is very intentional. But that brings with it some strong structures. So I think us being able to learn new ways of improvising within these strong structures is going to be our next wave of pedagogical concern. I think what's interesting is that I had expected the students to be perhaps more adept with the technology we're using than they are, but of course they're using their own technology. So I think there is this kind of even space on Teams and Zoom where we are all more even in terms of the way that we're working.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel there is a kind of resistance among the professors to change?
No, I think the ones that I know, no. I mean, it was we had to, I mean, maybe that's lucky. I think what we are finding is that we are having to, and it's a good thing, we're re-examining all of our material, because what can you put into a recorded lecture, and then how do you convert into the live discussion period? So I think it's been an interesting period for us to review all of our material, not only how we deliver it, but is it the right thing to be delivered now? What is different about face-to-face live like this as opposed to listening to a recording of me? When should I use both? So yeah, we're definitely learning new ways of teaching for sure.
You're still learning, even if you are the big professor who knew everything.
Well, I think it becomes a problem when you won't learn. I think that's when you should stop. But yeah, this year has definitely been a very harsh year for us in terms of thinking about how we deliver our teaching. I think that the key thing has been around delivering critical thinking and critical examination, rather than standing and delivering a 2-hour non-stop lecture. Actually engaging with students to develop their criticality has been the largest thing that we now need to do.
To address. Okay. Pierre, same question for you.
Yes.
It seems to me that the main change is about the organization for professor pedagogy.
Yes. I mean, I'm completely following what Sean was saying on this idea of trying to bring a bit more criticality in our teaching. And there's one thing also that I experience a lot, and I do hope that in the coming months it will disappear progressively, but still it's still very present, is that I saw myself very much now, and some of my colleagues as well, as the front line, I must say, with the students. So the students are the first people they are speaking with. We are the first people the students are speaking with. And I saw myself to be, I wouldn't say a psychologist, but nearly. I mean, most of the meetings I have with students online start with, how are you doing? It's not at all about the content. It's about to make sure that students are still doing fine. and sometimes we are not so much doing fine either, but we have to hide that a bit. But really much that there is much more concern about the health and the well-being of our students. And I think that is a shift really much compared to what was before, because before it was really much within the university, you could see what was going on and students could help each other in a way or another. And there were also some university psychologists, for example, who could reach them quickly out. And this is much more difficult now. So we are the front line, and I think this has changed a lot my way of relating to students. And in the teaching itself, as Shan was saying, there is this idea of teaching them to be more critical. And also because they are much more online than we are. I mean, they spend a lot of time online indeed. We also hope that they look for resources and knowledge themselves online. So there's this idea that I like very much, is the idea of learning to learn. So I think our position has been much more to teach them or to accompany them into a learning on their own. So this idea of learning to learn. I coach them much more than I teach them, I guess so, yes.
Yeah. A kind of coaching.
Yes.
You know, we have so many coaches today. So, Patrick, I speak French, sorry for Patrick. Dites-nous un mot sur ce qui a changé, parce que on le voit, hein, tout le monde a dit, les enseignants ont dû changer de posture aussi pour s'adapter et transformer leur méthode d'apprentissage des étudiants. Qu'en pensez-vous?
Nous, effectivement, on s'est adapté, comme je vous le disais, on a transformé le présentiel en distanciel. Ça, c'était pour le gros du flot. Par contre, et ce qui est intéressant, c'est une expérimentation qu'on mène depuis 2-3 ans maintenant, qu'on appelle l'API, qui est l'apprentissage par immersion en entreprise. Et c'est le modèle qui a le mieux tenu pendant tous les confinements les différents confinements qu'on a vécu. Et ce modèle-là remet l'entreprise au cœur même de l'apprentissage. On diminue drastiquement le nombre de stages de regroupement en centre de formation. L'essentiel de la formation se fait en entreprise. Par contre, le formateur va passer une journée par mois dans chaque entreprise de chaque jeune. Il va passer la journée avec lui de manière à apporter la partie ressources, partie théorique ou gestes pratiques dont l'entreprise a besoin sur le geste technique à ce moment-là. Et là, le numérique est assez intéressant également parce que ça leur permet de garder du lien entre deux stages qui sont très éloignés et de quand même fédérer à travers des missions à réaliser en groupe avec leurs jeunes, enfin avec les apprenants qui le font en plus de l'entreprise, qui le font le soir ou le samedi. Et c'est le modèle qui a le mieux tenu et qui est encore perfectible mais qui est assez intéressant quand même.
Est-ce que, Patrick, vous avez le sentiment ils sont au cœur de la machine, les enseignants. C'est le plus important finalement, puisque eux, ils vont s'adapter, se transformer. C'est là qu'il faut progresser le plus, parce qu'au fond, les machines, c'est des machines. Le digital, ce ne sont que des investissements. Et au fond, le professeur reste au cœur de la machine, il doit s'adapter.
C'est surtout une question de posture. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, il doit rester professeur ou il doit être animateur? J'entends par animateur au sens propre de l'étymologique du mot, celui qui donne vie, celui qui anime l'âme. Et les jeunes arrivent dans les métiers avec, s'ils sont entraînés dans une dynamique d'apprendre, il faut surtout être là pour leur apporter tout ce qui est nécessaire à leur apprentissage plutôt que de gaver des oies. C'est eux qui sont maîtres de leur apprentissage et il faut leur insuffler cette énergie-là.
D'accord. Okay, thank you. Another question for all my guests. I want to know, if it's possible, what you think about the search of purpose, what we speak a lot today in the newspaper, in TV, and media, impact the need of to feel useful. And here, this is the point of fundamental elements we are talking in education. Do you feel that in your university, Laurent?
I think that yes, our students are seeking purpose in what we do with them and what they will do in the company when they will graduate, and they have more and more questions about purpose, about values. I think we will talk later on environmental issues. In fact, we see that they don't want distance-only learning anymore. It was too much during the last few months. So they want to see us, they want to be with us, and they want to talk about purpose and values. And I think that it's quite challenging for the companies who will hire this generation, because they will have to give them answer about the values of the company, about the purpose of the job. As Métiers students, as I said, most of them will work in the industry. Most of them will work in production. And there are still many jobs who are with presence on the workshop, on the floor, and they still have some choice in the jobs, and they want the company to give some purpose in the job.
Responsible impact. This is the word very important for the new generation, the word of tomorrow. Sean, what do you think about this?
Well, many of the students that I work with are going to form their own business.
Oh, you changed your place.
I've changed my background. I know. I managed to get the dog to settle, and now I'm back on my more formal background. Oh my gosh. So I think forget purpose, it's adaptation, isn't it, at the moment, always. But purpose is massively important. And the majority of students that I work with are going to start their own enterprise. They're very clear of the impact they want to make on society. And I think this is really positive. And I think, again, this comes with us then working together with them. And it comes back to that flattening of status, is how do we give them the right tools for them to achieve that purpose? I think a lot of the frustration comes when they try to enter employment or start their own business, when they don't have the right tools, the right skills to be able to enact what they see as their purpose. But yeah, I think we are very much working with generations of people, and most of the students I work with are in their 20s, but some are older, where up to 50s. But that notion of self-actualization, they definitely come with very clear sets of values, and they want us to provide them with the frameworks that will help them achieve their ambitions. But they're quite selfless, which is wonderful.
It's not a mode, it's a strong feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that brings quite a collaborative way of working together with them. I think.
Yeah, what do you think about this?
Yes, I think it's also here a very major topic nowadays with our students. I don't think there's much student left in our faculty who do not look for a purpose in what they do. I do believe even that many of the students are not studying design because they want to study design per se. They're studying design because they saw in the where we teach or what the topic we address in design, that it is a place where they might find these ways and skills and tools to be able to address this purpose. So it becomes first for them, I think, and we see that more and more. And whether after they enter a company or they create their own company, it is really much the lead is really much the purpose they are looking into, and it's often very clear for them. It will be either climate change, it's going to be a mobility, energy in mobility, it's going to be a city reorganization. It might be very much different topics, but they are I think they are much more focused than 5-10 years ago. And I think the COVID situation we are in now is amplifying the movement and amplifying the importance of this topic.
You just said the word entrepreneurship. This is the answer for the new generation.
It is an alternative, I believe. it is a possibility. I think they see entrepreneurship in a very different manner than we used to, and I think this is going better than it used to be. Actually, the way I see it now, the way I see it with some of the students that are really looking into entrepreneurship, is that first they see it as the possibility to indeed start their activity based on the purpose they have. So I have this sort of autonomy to explore this purpose and go further. But also for so many of them, it is that, you know, they are young, they can risk, they can fail, and they know they can. First, because many of them have other parents or people around to support them a bit, for many of them. But still, I mean, they have nothing so much to lose, but they have a lot to learn. Because when you start your own company, you learn financial aspect, you learn marketing aspect, and all the things. So they know that this is a moment to go on. And I like really much this idea that the entrepreneurship is also a continuation for education, as it at the same time a first act in the professional environment for the purpose they have. So for them, it's really a very nice alternative to being hired in a company that they used to look for before.
You know how we used to call France the startup nation. So I'm happy when you speak about entrepreneurship, because I think that the new generation is very involved in this kind of new strategy, personal strategy.
You know, just as a very brief, as I would say that half of our students in design in Eindhoven have their own company as students already, and they do little stuff, but they already start to look for what it can become after they graduate. So it's really something that they look forward.
It's very strong, but we saw the scenario before the previous conference. We were speaking about entrepreneurship and how to deal with a new way of living, new way of working. We have 5 minutes to discuss a little bit more. Patrick, la quête de sens, l'impact, est-ce que les étudiants le ressentent aussi chez les compagnons du devoir?
La quête de sens chez les compagnons, c'est un peu le moteur du mouvement, en fait. C'est là où vient toute la partie initiatique, la partie un peu philosophique dans notre manière de transmettre. Il y a rien qui peut, est-ce que l'homme peut s'épanouir sans mettre un sens à ce qu'il fait, quoi, sans mettre un sens dans ce qu'il fait? Le but des compagnons, c'est on est dans les métiers de l'artisanat. Donc, un métier d'artisanat, par principe, c'est de servir, de remplir un besoin auprès des humains. Le but du jeu, c'est que ce soit beau et agréable à utiliser et que ça dure le plus longtemps possible. Donc, la quête de sens, c'est chez nous, ça peut se traduire en une phrase, hein, c'est notre devise. La devise des compagnons, c'est ni s'asservir, ni se servir, mais servir. Chacun y met le sens.
Great. Yes, I could not translate in English because not to serve. This is the end of the sentence, but it's a great phrase. Thank you very much, Patrick. Just a few words to end this conference, and it was very interesting, of course. I would like to have a key words about the future of work and the future of education, which is very important. Laurent, what is the key words for the future from your point of view?
For me, it's environment. That's the big issue for us. We have students now who are very concerned with environmental problems. They want us to change our programs. They want us to change the way we behave in the school, and they want the company to change. And our big issue is to make them to go in the companies where they will have a strong impact. Some of them are activists.
Too much.
And yeah, too much maybe. They say, we don't want to take the plane for study abroad. We don't want to go into this company because it doesn't have the same values that we have with respect to the environment. And big challenge that is to make them understand that those companies they have huge plans to change in terms of carbon production. And those students who are activists, they have to go into these companies to change them. And that's not that easy.
They could change inside. Thank you very much, Laurent. Last words for Sean and Prime, and of course, Patrick. Sean, would you tell us what is your keywords from your point of view for the future of works and education?
I think it's environment, yes, sustainability, criticality, resilience, and the ability to improvise. I think if we can leave our students with strong understanding of those, and if they can make us develop our skills in those, then we're doing well.
You're optimistic.
You have to be, don't you, when you're in lockdown? But yeah, I think we have to be optimistic, and I think that's what this year has taught us is we have to be optimistic. We have to, if we're not open to change, it will be forced on us. So let's be collaborative and look at those changes that we can make to ensure that education remains relevant and that we develop students who will, as you were just saying, Laurent, who will change industry. We have to keep that energy and that enthusiasm as well as the skills to be able to do that.
And I hope that we have students from UK in the next few years, in the next years, because it's very important to keep this relationship between university all over Europe, all over the world. If you see what I mean, Sean.
I do, and I would be, if I could take the last minute of this platform to say that I think the local to global is so key, and I know that a lot of students that I've been working with are now looking to take their master's program in mainland Europe because of the decisions that were made at the end of last year. So
you can say the word.
So yeah.
Okay. Pierre, just a few words because we are late.
Yeah, well, I will just add to what Sean said. I think it's what Sean, the keywords Sean had were really good to that. There's really this idea of transformation. Everything will transform and continuously transforming, and I think we need to ally to it. And this idea of learning to learn or lifelong learning. I think it's also very important that we keep this idea that even when we are graduates, we still keep on learning.
Patrick, un dernier mot en français. Thank you very good. Thank you very much. Sorry, Pierre, and see you soon in Paris, maybe. I hope
so.
Patrick, a few words. Et c'est quoi le mot-clé pour vous demain?
J'ai pas entendu, pardon. Le mot-clé?
Le mot-clé pour demain, pour nos étudiants, pour l'entreprise, dans cette transformation que nous connaissons.
Le mot-clé, je crois que c'est qu'il faut rien s'interdire du moment qu'on œuvre dans le bon sens, c'est-à-dire en lien avec l'environnement, en lien avec l'épanouissement. Donc ça, c'est la confiance, le mot-clé. S'il y en a un à retenir, c'est celui-là. Faut faire
Confidence. Everything is possible. This is, I think, a good conclusion. Thank you very much. And join us to the conclusion scene. We are give to the audience all the kind of short arguments of what we said. Thank you very much, and let's join us on the new scene for the end. Okay? Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Bye. You can find the link in the chat to connect to the room for the conclusion.
Thank you.
Can you see the link?
Yes, got it there.
I will post it again.
Thank you. And thank you, Gilbert, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Je suis sur la salle d'attente. Hein.